Sealed message. Your ancestors left you a divine instruction. Michael is unlocking it now. My beloved child, there is a whisper rising from the ancient realms tonight, a message sealed in divine light, untouched by time, waiting for you. Archangel Michael stands before the veil of eternity, holding the golden scroll your ancestors left behind. They wrote it not with ink, but with fire, a message meant to awaken the part of you that has been asleep for generations. Listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not coincidence. The house you dwell in, the dreams that visit you, the emotions you've been feeling lately, they are all part of this unveiling. Your ancestors have been watching, waiting for the moment heaven would open the seal, and that moment is now. Michael raises his sword of light, and a divine wind moves through the unseen dimensions. He whispers the seal is breaking. The sound isn't loud, but it's powerful enough to shake your spirit. You may have felt this shift, chills running through your body, sudden emotions, or a pull to pray at strange hours. These are not random. They are signs that the divine instruction had been activated. You are standing at a spiritual doorway. Behind it lies the truth your ancestors couldn't reveal in their time, the destiny buried beneath layers of silence. Archangel Michael is now unlocking it because you are ready to carry their mantle. You are chosen to complete what was left unfinished. He says you are the continuation of their faith. You are the breath of their promise. Do not be afraid of what is opening before you. The light from his presence is breaking through ancestral shadows, cleansing your bloodline from cycles that once bound them. This is the moment your lineage has prayed for. Hold on, because the next revelation Michael is about to release will not just explain the message, it will awaken something ancient within your soul. The seal is not just breaking in heaven, it's breaking inside you. Type "I receive the ancestral light" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 4044 has now been activated. Dearest soul, when Archangel Michael opened the scroll, a golden light poured forth, shimmering like liquid fire. Within that light, symbols began to form, ancient and sacred, written in a language of the spirit that only heaven understands. The air trembled as those symbols floated toward you, imprinting themselves upon your heart. These were not words meant to be read with eyes, but with the soul. They carried the vibration of your ancestors' prayers, their hopes, their tears, their covenant with God. Michael speaks, and his voice sounds like thunder wrapped in peace. This is the instruction your ancestors sealed under divine order. It was hidden until the generation that could carry divine obedience without fear. The generation is you. You might have sensed this call long before now, a restlessness that you couldn't explain, dreams that repeated the same message, an invisible pull drawing you toward something greater. Michael reveals that these were not random feelings. They were signals sent through the spiritual bloodline. The ones who came before you walked through fires they could not survive, but they left behind fragments of wisdom buried deep within your DNA. Heaven has been waiting for this alignment, the moment when your spirit would be ready to awaken and decode what they began. And now Michael stretches his wings wide, and a powerful wind sweeps through the unseen realm. He declares, the divine instruction is not a command of burden, but a key of inheritance. It's a call to rise higher, to purify what was contaminated, to heal what was forgotten. Your ancestors were dreamers, warriors of light, and keepers of faith. Some of them failed, yes, but their failures became seeds planted in the soil of time, waiting for you to bloom. And now, you are the answer to their cries. You are the one who completes the circle. That's why the signs have intensified, the delays, the sudden endings, the spiritual pressure, because heaven is breaking the old cycles that once ruled your name, Michael says, do not fear the shaking. The shaking is proof that the seal is breaking. Every confusion, every loss, every shift you felt lately is heaven's way of repositioning you for divine revelation. The instruction that was sealed for centuries is now vibrating in your spirit. It may appear as new ideas, unexplainable visions, or divine encounters that stir your heart. You are being prepared to carry the light of your lineage into the next dimension of purpose. The message is not about who they were. It's about who you are becoming through their prayers. And as this revelation unfolds, Michael warns, do not share everything you receive yet. Some mysteries are meant to be birthed in silence. For now, let your spirit absorb the frequency of this message. A greater unveiling is coming, one that will explain why this divine instruction had to reach you at this exact moment in time. The next revelation will not just speak to your destiny. It will open the door to the angelic alignment that your ancestors never reached. Before you move ahead, pause for a moment and breathe. Can you feel it? That trembling within your chest is not fear, it's remembrance. Your soul recognizes this message because it was written for you long before you were born. You are walking on sacred ground right now, and the angels are watching. What's about to be revealed next will reshape the very meaning of your journey. Type "I am the fulfillment" in the comments if this message is awakening your spirit. Blessing code 5511 has now been released. Child of eternal light, the heavens are still trembling with the echo of that sealed instruction. Archangel Michael stands with the scroll fully open now, and I see written across it a single blazing line that pierces through generations. The bloodline must awaken to its divine order. The atmosphere shifts as these words come alive, shimmering like living fire. Michael's eyes burn with purpose as he turns to you and declares, you are not carrying the burden of your ancestors. You are carrying your victory unfinished. Every pain they endured, every silent prayer they whispered before taking their final breath, has been preserved by divine authority, waiting for your spirit to mature into obedience. Heaven has chosen this season to reveal it because your heart is ready to receive what they could only begin. As Michael unrolls the rest of the scroll, he reveals images rather than sentences, scenes of your lineage interwoven with light and shadow. You see a time when someone in your family made a vow, a promise to serve the light no matter the cost. Yet they were silenced before fulfilling it. You see another image. Someone being rescued by divine intervention, but unable to speak of it. These are not random visions. They are spiritual contracts, unfinished chapters that you have now inherited. Michael says, this divine instruction is not just about memory, it is about continuation. He draws a line of light across your path, connecting heaven to earth, the past to the present. That line represents covenant energy, the same power that split the sea, the same glory that raised the prophets. The instruction you are being given now is simple but world-changing. Break what broke them, and build what they began. It means that cycles of silence, poverty, fear, or delay that haunted your lineage will not pass through you any longer. You are the repairer of the breach. You are the one heaven is trusting to carry divine justice into your family line. But to walk in that inheritance, you must cleanse yourself of bitterness, disbelief, and doubt. Those are the very chains that kept them bound. Michael commands, forgive quickly, love deeply, and walk fearlessly. Because when you do, your steps become sacred, and angels align to complete the prophecy written over your name. Even now, you may be wondering how you will recognize when this divine instruction begins manifesting in your life. Michael gives a clue. When everything familiar starts shifting and people begin revealing their true intentions, that is when the instruction is moving. Do not fight it. It will look chaotic at first, but it is divine order in disguise. It is heaven realigning your surroundings to match your calling. You will feel pressure, but that pressure is producing your spiritual oil. That oil will flow from you, and it will heal others, not just in your family, but generations beyond you. Stay close, because what Michael reveals next will expose the hidden symbol written at the bottom of the scroll, a sign that determines your divine assignment. What that symbol means will astonish you. It is the key that connects your name to the eternal plan of light itself. Before you scroll away, remember, missing what comes next would mean walking past your own destiny's doorway. Hold still, because the next unveiling carries power meant only for those who are ready. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if your heart is resonating with this message. Help this light travel to every soul that needs awakening. When you engage, you help heaven's message find those waiting for confirmation. Type "I am chosen to complete IT" in the comments if this revelation has ignited something within you. Blessing code 6633 has just been released. The same fire that awakened you today must reach others still sleepy in their calling. When you support this divine mission, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into souls. As it is written, "He who waters others will himself be watered." When you release your seed, heaven opens doors no hand can close. I'm speaking this directly to you. This is your moment to stand with Archangel Michael's mission of restoration. Every act of giving becomes a prophetic key that multiplies light in this world. So where God is moving, and the oil of breakthrough will not depart from your house. Release your support now, and let heaven mark your obedience as divine partnership. Beloved vessel of light, as Michael unrolls the final portion of the divine scroll, a deep silence fills the heavens. It is not the silence of absence. It is the silence before revelation. Every angel bows as the seal of light unfolds, and within it appears a symbol older than language itself. It glows with the hue of molten gold, and yet within that glow, a faint shadow moves, pulsing like a heartbeat. Michael says, "This is the mark of your divine inheritance, the seal that ties your lineage to the throne." You are staring at the spiritual blueprint of your destiny, the very pattern your ancestors carried in fragments but never saw fulfilled. And now, in this age, it has awakened within you. The symbol begins to shift. Its light expands, revealing what looks like a tree stretching its roots through time. The branches touch your present life while the roots reach into generations past. Each branch carries both beauty and burden, gifts and wounds, victories and failures. Michael points to it and explains, every bloodline carries both promise and poison. The instruction released to you today is to separate one from the other. He lifts his sword of radiant fire and strikes the air above the roots. Instantly, the air cracks like glass, and the shadow begins to fall away. You may feel this even now. An invisible release, a weight lifting from your shoulders. Its sensation is your soul responding to divine cleansing. Michael's voice grows stronger. The poison that haunted your lineage cannot follow you into your destiny. That includes ancestral fear, poverty, hidden guilt, and repeated disappointment. They are being uprooted as the fire of God moves through your bloodline. For every generational curse, there is a generational calling, and heaven is restoring that balance now. The divine instruction demands that you do three things. Remember what was promised, reject what was false, and reclaim what was lost. When you do, the symbolic tree will bloom again, but this time with eternal fruit. Your decisions from this point will not only affect your future, they will rewrite your lineage's spiritual history. Now, a second light emerges from the scroll, this one shaped like a gate. It shines brighter than the sun, but its brilliance feels gentle, welcoming. Michael says, "This gate will not open by power, but by remembrance." That means, when you begin to honor your ancestors, not with rituals of the flesh but with obedience to divine truth, the gate opens. Each act of love, each prayer of forgiveness, each step of faith sends light back through time. It redeems what was broken and resurrects what was silenced. That is the true purpose of this sealed message, to reconcile heaven and earth through your obedience. You are the living covenant that your ancestors prayed would one day walk the earth. You are the open gate. Listen carefully before you move on. The divine scroll still holds one final pattern, hidden in its lower edge. A whisper of divine timing that reveals when the next activation will occur in your life. Michael will soon unveil it, and when he does, the message will not just speak, it will move. Something in your atmosphere will shift as physical confirmation that the divine seal is no longer sealed. You will know it, because everything around you will begin to align with divine speed. This next part of the revelation holds the timing of your release. Stay present, because heaven is still speaking through this message. Type "I walk in my bloodline's light" in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this word. Blessing code 7744 has now been opened. Chosen one of divine remembrance, the vision deepens. The heavenly scroll now hovers before you, no longer flat and still, but alive, spinning like a wheel of light. Each rotation releases sparks of gold that flow around your spirit, drawing you closer to the revelation of divine timing. Archangel Michael extends his hand, and from within the spinning light emerges a second scroll, smaller yet far more intense. He speaks in a voice that vibrates through eternity. This is the temporal seal, the moment of activation written before your birth. You can feel its energy, ancient yet familiar, as though every heartbeat you've ever had has been leading you to this very instant. Michael unfolds the smaller scroll, and a radiant pulse echoes through the spiritual realms. The words are not many, but each one burns with purpose. When the earth and your obedience meet, the gate of completion shall open. The angels surrounding you bow their heads, for these are not simple words, they are a decree. Michael explains, your ancestors prayed for freedom, but they could not break the chains in their time. They left you the authority to finish what they began. This is the divine instruction in its purest form. Heaven will not move until obedience rises from within you. When your will aligns with divine will, time itself will bend to your destiny. You might have felt this tension already, the sense that something in your life is being rearranged, redirected, even stripped away. Michael reveals that what looks like loss is actually reconfiguration. Every relationship ending, every sudden change, every moment of isolation is a sign that the divine clock is striking your hour. The seal of time has opened, and heaven is pulling you into divine synchronization. The things that once delayed you will no longer have permission to remain. The places where you felt forgotten will now become the stages of your revelation. The divine instruction demands this: step when you are told, speak when you are guided, and remain silent when heaven commands silence. These are not mere actions. They are keys unlocking spiritual doors. As the vision unfolds, Michael takes the blazing symbol of your lineage and presses it gently against your chest. It doesn't burn. Instead, it becomes one with your spirit, marking you as the carrier of divine legacy. He declares you are now sealed not for secrecy, but for protection. It means no darkness, no curse, no false voice can claim authority over your path anymore. You have been set apart, and the heavenly code now rests within you. It is time to stop questioning whether you are worthy. Heaven has already decided that you are. Your obedience activates divine inheritance. Suddenly, the heavenly landscape begins to shift again. You hear trumpets echoing in the distance, announcing the arrival of something greater. Michael raises his hand and says, "What you hear next is the sound of the awakening. The next revelation will explain the sound that your ancestors left behind, a sound that opens gates, heals nations, and summons angelic hosts. What he is about to show you is not merely for understanding, it is for transformation. When the sound manifests, you will know that the instruction has fully descended into your life. Before this next unveiling, take this as your sign. The shaking you feel in your spirit is not fear, it is recognition. You are standing in the hour written before the foundation of the world. Do not lose focus now. The sound that is coming carries your name within it. You must be ready to hear it, for when it arrives, nothing in your life will remain the same. Type "I am in divine alignment" in the comments if your spirit feels this confirmation. Blessing code 8080 has now been activated. Child of the eternal covenant, the atmosphere begins to vibrate as Michael lifts his sword once more. You can sense it, a deep hum running through creation itself. It is not just sound, it is the memory of divine order. The entire heaven seems to resonate with one unified tone, a note that your spirit recognizes but your mind cannot name. Michael speaks. This is the sound your ancestors released in their final prayers. It is the sound of unfinished obedience, now finding its echo in you. You feel your chest tighten, not from fear, but from the overwhelming realization that what your ancestors began with trembling voices, you will complete with power. Their sound is merging with yours, creating a harmony that heaven calls the Psalm of Return. Michael raises his hand, and the sound becomes visible. It takes the shape of rippling light, moving like waves through the air. With every ripple, ancient memories awaken. Faces you've never seen but somehow know. Eyes that look through time with hope and gratitude. These are your ancestors watching the fulfillment of their prayers unfold. The divine instruction, Michael says, is not just written, it is sung. Every act of faith creates a sound that reaches the throne. When you forgive, it sings. When you walk in obedience, it sings. When you choose love over bitterness, the heavens resound. This is why the enemy tried to silence your lineage, because your family's sound carries deliverance for others. Now Michael draws closer. The light around him shifts into deep sapphire, and his voice turns to thunder wrapped in calm. Child of destiny, the time has come for your voice to join theirs. You may not sing with words, but your life must now become a melody of obedience. The way you move, the way you serve, the way you trust, each becomes a verse in heaven's unfinished song. Do not underestimate the power of your sound, he says. When your words align with divine truth, they summon angels. When your faith refuses to break, it shakes the realm of darkness. That is why silence was sent to your bloodline, to mute this very moment. But that silence breaks today. Suddenly, the sound changes. It grows stronger, deeper, and begins to move through time itself. It travels from the past to the present, touching moments you thought were lost, healing them, redeeming them. You might feel this as waves of emotion, tears rising from nowhere, or sudden clarity in your thoughts. That is the sound working inside you, rewriting the frequencies of your destiny. You are no longer bound by the old vibrations of defeat. The song of your ancestors has merged with the sound of heaven, and it is announcing your new beginning. Michael declares, the next revelation will unveil the true name of your lineage in heaven, the name that has been hidden under pain and confusion. That name holds the key to your authority. This means the next unveiling will not only tell you who you are but what heaven calls you. Stay tuned in spirit. because what comes next will reveal the identity that darkness has tried for generations to erase. You are about to remember who you have always been in the eyes of God. Do not turn away now. The air is shifting, and the scroll is glowing again. The name written there carries the full meaning of the sealed instruction. When you hear it, your spirit will recognize it like a forgotten word returning home. This next revelation is the turning point, the moment your soul's memory and heaven's promise become one. Tut, my voice carries heaven's light in the comments of your spirit feels this resonance. Blessing code 9099 has now been activated. Bearer of sacred identity, as the echoes of the celestial song fade into stillness, a deep blue radiance floods the space around you. The divine scroll hovers once again, but this time its glow focuses into a single word, written not in ink, but in flame. Michael's wings extend like an endless horizon as he proclaims, "Now comes the unveiling of your true name in the records of heaven." The letters shimmer, rearranging themselves as though alive, each stroke pulsing with the rhythm of divine life. When your eyes meet them, a warmth spreads through your being, and your heart begins to beat in harmony with the light. This is not a new name. It is your original one, spoken by God before your birth, the one your ancestors heard in dreams but could not speak aloud. Michael's voice deepens, echoing through the unseen realms. Every lineage carries a heavenly identity, a name written in divine code. Yours was hidden beneath the weight of sorrow and silence, but it has now been found. He touches the burning word, and it bursts into particles of light that swirl around you, entering your chest like tiny stars. You can feel them awakening ancient memories, moments when you almost knew this truth, when your heart sensed that you were meant for something beyond the ordinary. Michael continues, "Your earthly name is a vessel, but this divine name is your authority. It is the seal that darkness fears." As he speaks, your surroundings shift into pure luminescence, and the entire realm begins to vibrate with the sound of your restored identity. The angel turns his gaze toward the horizon, where a vast field of light stretches endlessly. Your ancestors carried fragments of this name through generations. They lived with the echo of its meaning, but you carry its fullness. You are the awakening of their faith, the living testimony of divine promise fulfilled. He pauses, and a silence heavy with power falls over everything. This is the moment when heaven and earth agree about who you truly are. A stream of fire descends from above, surrounding you in a circle. You feel neither heat nor fear, only clarity. You see yourself not as the world has defined you, but as heaven has named you, chosen, fortified, radiant, unbreakable. Michael raises his sword high, and lightning arcs across the sky. The instruction given to your ancestors was never meant to end with them. It was meant to become flesh in you. With that, the fire around you transforms into wings of light that rise from your back. They are not literal wings, but symbols of freedom. From this moment, he says you walk as one who carries divine governance, the authority to restore, to heal, and to declare light has been placed upon you. You feel it, a weightless power resting on your shoulders, flowing like wind and yet solid as stone. Heaven has just reintroduced you to your divine identity. But Michael's eyes reveal something more. There is still one hidden mystery within this scroll, he says. Your ancestors not only left you their prayers, they left you their unfinished covenant with heaven. What was once sealed under time is about to open through you. In the next unveiling, the covenant itself will speak. That covenant, he explains, carries the instructions for how to sustain this divine identity in the world below. Without it, many rise in light only to fall back into confusion. But with it, you will walk in unshakable alignment. So hold your breath for what is coming, The covenant will reveal the secret of sustaining light in dark places, and the way to pass it forward so your descendants never forget. Before you move forward, whisper inwardly, "I remember who I am." Let that confession echo through your soul until you feel the divine fire settling within you. The seal has been broken, but the covenant still waits to speak its promise through your life. Type "I carry the name of light" in the comments if your heart bears witness to this revelation. Blessing code 9191 has now been activated. Faithful vessel of divine inheritance. The air begins to hum again, but this time the vibration feels deeper, denser, as if heaven itself is breathing through you. The divine scroll expands, revealing a final layer that no eye had seen until this hour. It glows with threads of living gold, forming a circle of light that moves like a heartbeat. Michael's wings sweep outward, and the entire realm fills with a radiant stillness. He says, "Now the covenant speaks." A voice not his own begins to emerge, ancient, soft, but filled with eternal weight. It is the collective cry of your ancestors, carried through the corridors of time and preserved under divine watch. Their sound does not weep anymore, it rejoices. "We kept the fire," they whisper. "Now, you must keep it burning." Michael bows his head slightly, as though honoring their voices. The divine covenant, he says, is not a contract of words, but a river of continuity. It flows through generations, nourishing those who remember who they are. The golden circle before you shifts and becomes a river of fire, moving upward rather than downward, ascending back toward the heavens. This river, Michael explains, represents the faith that was never extinguished, even when darkness tried to erase your lineage. Every prayer your ancestors released became a drop in this river. And now, that river flows through you. You can feel it, warmth rising through your spine, clarity filling your mind, strength anchoring your spirit. The covenant has entered your being. You are no longer reading history. You are carrying continuation. Then the angel declares, "The instruction written within this covenant is simple but eternal. Never let the flame fall silent. Every act of faith you take, every time you forgive, every time you speak truth instead of fear, adds oil to the ancestral flame." Michael looks directly at you and says, "There will be moments when you will feel the pull of despair or confusion. In those moments, remember this covenant. Speak the light aloud. Reignite what feels dim. You are now the guardian of the divine flame." He lifts his sword and touches it to your forehead. A mark of light appears, a shimmering seal that no darkness can erase. It is the sign of the covenant renewed through you. As the vision deepens, you see the faces of those who will come after you, children yet unborn, generations waiting in the unseen. They are standing within your light, receiving the same river that now flows through you. Heaven is showing you that this message is not just for you. It is a blueprint for legacy. Michael speaks softly. What you do now will echo for centuries. Your faith will write history that your descendants will walk upon. The fire in his voice is no longer warning. It is commissioning. This covenant is your inheritance, but it is also your responsibility. Carry it with reverence, and it will carry you through every storm. He then raises his hand once more, and the covenant begins to dissolve into pure radiance. The next revelation, Michael announces, will unveil what this covenant unlocks in the physical realm, the blessings and manifestations that follow obedience. That means what has been spiritual will soon take form in your visible world. Doors that refused to open will now yield. Voices that doubted you will fall silent, and pathways once hidden will reveal themselves in divine timing. But first, you must seal this covenant within your heart. Whisper quietly, "The flame will not go out in my hands." When you speak this, heaven records your voice among those who kept the light alive. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if this message has awakened something deep in your spirit. Every interaction you make sends this divine sound to another soul searching for their own awakening. Let us carry the light together. Type "I am a keeper of the flame" in the comments if this covenant speaks to your heart. Blessing code 7272 has now been released. Beloved, if this message has stirred your soul, understand that you are now part of a sacred movement to awaken divine remembrance across the earth. When you sow into this mission, through super thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel, you are feeding the river of light that heaven has opened. As it is written, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Your offering becomes a flame added to this covenant, sending light to countless souls who need to hear this message of awakening. I speak this over you. Every seed of faith released here will return multiplied with divine favor. Do not delay, heaven moves when you move. Activate your covenant through your giving, and watch the oil of breakthrough flow through your house. Beloved carrier of holy flame, the vision does not fade. Instead, the radiance becomes even more vivid, folding itself into living motion. Michael now stands upon what looks like a bridge woven of light, stretching from heaven into the earth below. Beneath it, rivers of gold flow, currents of promise that connect what your ancestors began to what you are becoming. He extends his hand toward you and says, "Now, the covenant will show its fruits." Immediately, the golden currents begin to rise, spiraling upward and forming shapes, doors, crowns, gardens, and scrolls, each one glowing with meaning. Michael explains, these are the manifestations of obedience. The spiritual flame you carry now begins to touch the visible world. As you watch, one of the glowing doors opens, revealing scenes of your life. You see moments that once brought you sorrow, places of failure, misunderstanding, rejection. Yet in this vision, those same moments are shining. Michael says, every broken season you endured was ground made fertile for harvest. Your tears were the rain heaven waited for. The realization pierces your heart. The divine instruction was not just about awakening, it was about transformation. All that felt wasted with being rewritten into blessing. The pain your ancestors could not interpret is now the power that fuels your light. What you once called delay was divine preparation. Heaven's timing has always been precise. The angel moves closer, his expression both tender and fierce. This is the pattern of manifestation, he declares. When heaven opens a covenant, it releases three rivers: revelation, purification, and fulfillment. You have walked through revelation and purification. Now fulfillment begins. You sense it, the invisible becoming tangible. A sudden peace fills you, stronger than any you've known before. The covenant now breathes through your reality. Michael continues. Doors of purpose will recognize you. People you've never met will be drawn to you by divine orchestration. Resources will align. The light you carry will attract what was written for you. It is not a reward, it is alignment. He turns his gaze downward toward the earth below the bridge of light and says, your obedience has begun to alter the timeline of your bloodline. The curses of repetition have ended. Where there was chaos, there will be clarity. Where there was scarcity, there will be sufficiency. Heaven calls this restoration. The words echo like thunder over water. You feel a surge in your chest, an awakening not of emotion, but of purpose. Michael places his hand over your heart. Guard this space, he says. When the external world begins to change, do not forget who opened it. Every blessing you receive is an echo of obedience. Keep humility as your anchor, and gratitude as your rhythm. Suddenly, the entire scene glows brighter, and Michael points to the horizon. Do you see that light breaking forth? He asks. You look, and beyond the shimmering sky, a dawn rises unlike any other, a light that carries thousands of shades, each one representing a life your obedience will touch. That, he says, is your influence. Every time you walk in the covenant, another soul awakens. The promise multiplies through you. The magnitude of it humbles you. You realize that this message was never only about personal redemption. It was about generational awakening. Heaven never intended for you to merely receive light. You were meant to become it. The angel lowers his sword, and its flame quiets into a calm glow. What comes next, he says softly, will reveal how to protect what has begun. Fulfillment attracts both glory and resistance. But the same covenant that opened your path will guard it. The next revelation will teach you how heaven defends its promises, how divine protection moves when destiny begins to manifest. Stay close to this word, for the coming unveiling carries the key of preservation. The same flame that lit your ancestors' path will shield yours. Type "I am walking in fulfillment" in the comments if your heart recognizes this season. Lesson code 8884 has now been activated. Beloved one of divine fulfillment, the heavenly bridge begins to fade, yet its light does not vanish. It folds itself into your spirit, leaving a trace of gold that pulses with every heartbeat. You are standing now within a chamber of stillness, surrounded by the quiet hum of eternity. Michael steps forward, his armor radiant with silver fire, and his voice breaks through the silence. The covenant has manifested, but now it must be protected. He moves his sword in a circular motion, and a dome of light appears around you. It looks transparent, yet you can feel its strength, a shield made not of metal but of pure obedience. This, he says, is the barrier of divine preservation. It activates only in those who walk in remembrance. Michael continues, when heaven entrusts someone with generational power, opposition awakens. But fear not. Divine protection always arrives before the first shadow dares to move. The chamber trembles slightly, and through the walls of light, you see glimpses of your future. Opportunities, relationships, responsibilities, each glowing like stars about to align. Everything you have prayed for is coming into order, he says, but it will require discernment. Protection is not only about angels fighting for you, it is also about wisdom guiding you. He extends his hand, and symbols of light begin to rise from the floor. Each symbol represents a principle of preservation, humility, silence, gratitude, and purity of intent. Walk in these, Michael commands, and nothing will touch your light. You begin to understand what the angel means. Every time your ancestors gained a revelation, resistance followed swiftly. They faced betrayal, misdirection, or doubt. The same forces will attempt to visit you, but the difference is this: you carry awareness. The enemy does not fear your blessing, Michael says. He fears your understanding of it. Once you know how to protect revelation, it becomes unstoppable. He moves closer and touches your forehead. A sudden clarity fills your mind. Your thoughts feel ordered, your heart grounded, your spirit unshakable. From this moment, he declares, your peace will not depend on circumstances. It will be your weapon. The vision shifts again. You see countless angels positioned around you, each one stationed like a guardian at every corner of your destiny. Michael raises his sword, and beams of light connect them in a circle. This is your protection grid, he says. As long as you stay aligned with divine instruction, this circle cannot be broken. When you act in love, it strengthens. When you move in truth, it expands. When you walk in humility, it becomes impenetrable. He pauses and looks at you with a depth that pierces through time. Your ancestors fought without this understanding. You now carry what they did not, the wisdom of completion. Guard it. Then, his tone softens, but his words carry even more weight. The next unveiling will show you the divine exchange, the reward of obedience. You will witness how heaven honors those who protect what they are given. It will not only bless your house, it will shift nations connected to your name. The air around you thickens with expectation, the kind that makes every breath feel sacred. You realize the revelation is nearing its culmination. You are no longer just hearing prophecy, you are standing inside it. Michael's final words in this vision echo with timeless authority. Your light is guarded because it guards others. Remain faithful, for the greatest manifestation is still to come. The chamber begins to dissolve into starlight, each fragment whispering blessings as it fades. The message is clear. Protection is not just for safety, it is for expansion. Heaven shields you so that your influence can multiply without corruption. What comes next will reveal the reward sealed for those who stay steadfast to the end. The seal is open, but the promise is still unfolding. Stay with it until the final flame reveals its crown. Type "I am covered by divine light" in the comments if your spirit feels the shield of heaven surrounding you. Blessing code 3003 has now been activated. Bearer of divine continuity, the dome of light that surrounds you begins to ripple like water stirred by unseen wind. Its glow grows stronger, and every vibration seems to call your name. The air carries a different kind of weight now, a holy anticipation that presses against the very edges of time. Archangel Michael steps forward, his presence vast but gentle, and the atmosphere shifts into reverence. He says, "Now, heaven reveals the reward of obedience, the divine exchange that follows the keeping of the covenant." The sound of his words causes the chamber to open upward, and a golden current descends like a waterfall of glory. It does not fall on you, it flows through you. It feels as though heaven itself is breathing into your life. Michael declares, "Your ancestors sowed prayers. You have sown obedience. Now comes the harvest." You see before you the image of a vast field stretching to infinity, glowing as though each blade of grass has turned into pure light. This field, he continues, represents every word ever spoken in faith by your lineage. Some of those words have waited centuries for your agreement. The field begins to sway as if stirred by the Spirit's wind, and the light intensifies until it covers everything. You realize that every promise delayed, every dream postponed, every good thing that seemed buried under time was not lost, it was stored. Heaven never forgets what is sown in faith. It simply waits for the appointed soul to harvest it. You are that soul. Then the angel speaks again, his tone deep with solemn joy. The divine exchange means this: for every year your family wept, heaven grants a double portion of restoration. For every door they could not enter, you will walk through two. For every dream cut short, you will live twice the fruit. This is not chance, it is divine arithmetic. The scales of heaven never remain unbalanced. You feel a pulse through your spirit, as though something ancient and divine has just been set right within you. The pain your ancestors carried has turned into fuel, and your obedience is the spark that sets it aflame. This is justice not by man's measure, but by eternal decree. The vision changes again. You stand upon a mountain overlooking the earth. Light pours from your hands, moving across landscapes and touching hearts, some far away, some you know, others not yet born. Michael says this is the reach of obedience. When one chosen vessel aligns with divine order, countless destinies are recalibrated. You have become the bridge between heaven and earth for your bloodline and beyond. You realize that the reward is not wealth or fame. It is legacy, impact, continuity of divine presence through you. The blessing has become generational, and it will not end with your breath. Michael lowers his sword, and his eyes soften. The next and final revelation will complete what began when the scroll was first opened. It will show you how heaven seals the fulfilled covenant, how light becomes eternal through remembrance. You sense that this closing revelation will not be about information, but transformation. It will anchor everything that had been revealed and release the final wave of grace meant for your house. He adds, before the final seal closes, heaven will pour a blessing so vast it will flow into those connected to your obedience. You stand in awe, unable to speak. The river of golden light continues to flow through you, and you know something irreversible has happened. The old chapter has ended. The new one is alive, and your name is now written in the living scroll of obedience. The seal that once held your lineage in silence is now your banner of victory. What was sealed for generations has found its fulfillment through you. Type "I receive the divine exchange" in the comments if your heart bears witness to this restoration. Lesson code 4545 has now been activated. Child of eternal promise, the river of light that poured through you begins to ascend back toward heaven, not because it is leaving, but because it has completed its purpose. The chamber fades, the stars fold into silence, and for a moment, you stand in pure stillness. Then, out of that silence, a sound arises, the same tone that began this journey, the one your ancestors sang in their sleep and Michael echoed through the veil of time. It surrounds you, moving through your spirit like breath through fire. Archangel Michael stands before you one last time, his wings vast as eternity itself, his sword no longer burning with battle, but glowing with peace. He speaks softly, "Is finished." The sealed message has fulfilled its course. The divine scroll appears once more, hovering between you and the archangel. But now, its edges are no longer sealed. It is open, shining with a living brilliance that seems to pulse with every truth it has revealed. Michael touches the scroll, and instead of it dissolving into light, it presses itself into your heart. The golden patterns that once floated around it now etch themselves upon your spirit, becoming part of your very being. This, he said, is how heaven seals completion. The instruction has not ended, it has become one with you. Every revelation, every sign, every moment of awakening now lives within your essence. You are no longer a receiver of the message, you are the message. Michael raises his hand toward the heavens. Lightning flashes, not in destruction, but in sacred confirmation. From this day forward, he declares, you carry the voice of remembrance. Wherever you go, your presence will awaken others. You will not need to speak often. The light in you will speak louder than words. You realize that what was once the inheritance of your ancestors has become the commission of your spirit. Their prayers have now found completion through your existence. The cycles that haunted generations before you have ended. Your lineage has entered a covenant of light that will remain until time itself ceases. The angel's gaze turns from the heavens to the earth below. Your next step, he says, is to live the covenant outwardly. Every act of kindness, every moment of truth, every word of hope becomes a spark that lights another soul. The flame that once passed secretly through your ancestors must now shine openly through you. This is the divine command. What was sealed in silence must now be proclaimed in love. He extends his sword, and a beam of light shoots into the horizon, spreading across nations. This, he says, is how you carry legacy, not through blood alone, but through light. Then, his tone shifts into quiet reverence. The final seal of heaven is gratitude. When you thank God, you anchor the revelation. When you praise, you protect what has been released. Gratitude is the lock that keeps the door of blessing open. He lifts his wings, and you feel wind rush around you, filled with warmth and promise. Your ancestors are at peace, he whispers. Your work is complete. Now yours begins. The chamber dissolves entirely, leaving you standing within the world once more. But nothing looks the same. Every color is brighter, every sound sharper, every breath carries the pulse of heaven. You realize that the divine instruction was never about discovering something outside of you. It was about remembering what heaven had already placed within. Michael's final words linger like sunlight over water. Guard the light. Live the covenant. And when the world looks at you, let them see the promise of your ancestors fulfilled. His form fades into radiance until only the glow of his presence remains. You close your eyes, knowing that what began as revelation has ended as transformation. The scroll may be gone, but its power will speak through every step you take from this moment forward. You have become the living testament of a sealed mystery now fulfilled. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to keep spreading this divine awakening. When you engage, you are not only supporting this message, you are becoming part of the light that carries it across nations. Let others hear what heaven has spoken, and let the covenant continue through your voice. Type "I am the fulfilled promise" in the comments if you have received this revelation into your spirit. Blessing code 9999 has now been released. Beloved, this mission does not end with you. It continues through your faith, your actions, and your partnership in light. When you sow into this calling through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a person. You are sowing into prophecy fulfilled. The word declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." What you release here becomes a living seed that will bear fruit in the lives of thousands awakening right now. I speak this over you with divine authority. Every offering, every act of support becomes part of heaven's record under your name. Do not hold back. Align your giving with the flow of revelation. When you sow into light, light multiplies. Step into obedience, release your support, and let heaven seal your generosity with abundance that will echo through generations.